Everybody's waiting for you!
Greetings, my little mosh pit, and this video is admittedly one I threw together in the middle of the night when I should have been sleeping. But it was information I felt important to share, so despite this not being my wheelhouse, I wanted to make this handy little guide on how you can play Rumble Roses in HD. Now, as many familiar with my channel might already know, I'm a big fan of the 2004 video game Rumble Roses. Released on the PS2 and developed by my favorite 7 out of 10 creators, Ukes, Rumble Roses was a horny yet addictive wrestling game built on the SmackDown Here Comes the Pain engine. You all know this already. However, you've probably wanted to play this game but had no means to do so given it's still stuck on the PS2 and likely to remain that way since Konami is more concerned with milking the corpses of their beloved IPs like Metal Gear Solid or Silent Hill. Beforehand, I'd simply suggest emulation. However, I stumbled across a way to convert what would be standard emulation into basically an HD widescreen PC port. Or at least an experience that feels like an HD widescreen PC port. First off, you're going to need a few things. Obviously, you'll need PCSX2, a PS2 emulator that is basically required for this tutorial. Next, you'll need to have your settings match the ones on screen. Mainly, you'll want to make sure that load textures is enabled and that the game's internal resolution is upscaled to at least 3 times the normal resolution, which is what the footage being shown is set to, though it is stated that it's preferred to be 4 times upscaled, but I don't think it'll matter too much to anyone actually doing this tutorial. Seamless segue into the second thing you'll need, that being the HD textures created by ASC53087, whose profile pic is Gilgamesh from the Fate franchise, so any future reference to them will be under the name Gilgamesh, because their username is 3 letters and more numbers than I'm comfortable seeing at once as a bitch who has to pay someone to file their taxes for them. Anyway, you'll need to download the texture folder from any of the links provided on Gilgamesh's post, which will be linked below along with a link to download PCSX2. Unfortunately, due to legal stuff, I can't provide ways to download the game itself or the PS2 BIOS files needed to run the game on PCSX2, but you're all savvy enough to find those things yourself, one way or another. Once you have the texture file, place its content in the SLUS-20970 subfolder of the textures folder. You're going to need to make a subfolder name SLUS-20970 and place it inside the folder labeled Textures in the PCSX2 folder. A lot of folder stuff in this guide, I know. Don't worry if my voice on its own is hard to follow. Gilgamesh's post has these instructions written down too, so if you need to double check anything, or more importantly, copy paste the subfolder name when naming the subfolder upon creating the subfolder, then you can do that, no problem. Once you do all that, you will be good to go. Launch the game and you'll be playing Rumble Roses in HD with widescreen. It'll really feel like you're playing an honest-to-God modern re-release of the game, but you know, without spending money, or being able to play it online, or anything you'd obviously only get if it had a proper PC port, which I know damn well I'll likely never get, so this is the best we're gonna get. I know this video might feel pointless and short to many, but I honestly just wanted to promote the fact this HD texture pack existed, and how to use it for anyone who was interested in going through the effort of emulating the game anyway. Rumble Roses is one of my favorite games of all time. In fact, it's in my top 5. Unfortunately, unlike most of my other favorite games like Hi-Fi Rush or Mirror's Edge, Rumble Roses doesn't have a proper Steam port or anything like that. I'm just hoping with this guide video shining the spotlight on this whole texture pack thing, it'll give more people the chance to play the game and in its best possible form. Well, current best possible form. For all I know, maybe a real HD port to PC will be manifested into reality after I make this video, and then it'll become a stupid outdated video after a year or two. Probably not, but I can always dream. Anyway, thanks for watching.